What's up everyone, welcome to Ashley Talks Movies. Today's video is a review of Disney-Pixar's Inside Out 2, the follow-up to 2015's Inside Out. We're taken back into the mind of Riley, a character from the first movie, who is now a teenager and encountering a whole range of new emotions, including anxiety. Before I jump into the review, a quick plug. If you enjoy this video, like, comment, and make sure you subscribe. First time I saw Inside Out, the first movie, I loved it. I thought it was one of Pixar's best movies. And one of the things I loved about it was just how fresh the story felt. And I also appreciated how the movie explored the themes of human emotions in a way that felt profound, but also extremely accessible to adults and children. Thankfully, Inside Out 2 is doing much of the same. This time, the movie is exploring those same themes from the perspective of a teenage Riley. Riley is now 13. The story is set the summer before she goes to high school. She's at hockey camp when she learns that her best friends are actually going to be going to a different school. And so, of course, this information basically throws her whole summer into chaos. And it's a very confusing time for Riley. And we are following her as she grapples with all these different problems and all these different changes in her life. And we see how she deals with the possibility of losing her best friends, her trying to make new friends and impress the girls on the high school hockey team, her trying to figure out what her life is going to be like in high school without her friends. And so it's a perfect breeding ground for new emotions to appear. And that's exactly what happens. We have envy, ennui, embarrassment, and of course, anxiety entering the picture. Meanwhile, joy, sadness, anger, and the other emotions from the first movie are trying to figure out why Riley is going through all these changes, because up until this point, they've had a pretty good grasp on who she is and how she reacts to things, right? And now these new emotions come in and everything is changing. So not only are we seeing like Riley change and how she's dealing with the outside external pressures, but then we're also seeing what is happening in her mind as those changes are happening. And it can be, overwhelming at times. And, all these different problems that you might face as a teenager often feel so much bigger than they are sometimes. And of course, that's where anxiety comes into play. So I really think that it was very smart of Pixar to go this route with this story. It makes it much more relatable, focusing on Riley dealing with different insecurities and making friends and figuring out where she fits in, versus the more predictable story, which would have had romance and Riley having some sort of crush. I also appreciated the backdrop of this story of Riley being at hockey camp, because she is also, an athlete and is very competitive. And when you start to see these different emotions take hold, especially anxiety, the movie does a really great job of showing how that can manifest. Not only just because she's a teenager, but also because of the competitive nature of the sport that she's playing and what drives people to do certain things and make certain decisions, and how different emotions, regardless of if you're doing sports or whatever, how different emotions can affect your life, affect your personality, affect the decisions that you make, how you react to things. And I think, this movie did a really great job of expressing that and exploring that part of the human condition. And of course, it goes without saying, when you're talking about a Pixar movie, you have to mention the animation. And once again, the animation here is just gorgeous and beautiful. As Pixar is known for this just really rich animation style. And it's on full display here with Inside Out 2. And I also liked how they included other animation styles throughout the movie. I won't say what they are or what they do with that, because there's some fun surprises there. I also really appreciated how different aspects of Riley's mind was represented through the animation. You know, you're not just exploring her emotions. You know, there's parts of her mind that you go into the memory, her personality, and how those things are designed and displayed. I thought were really, really well done. Now, if I were to have one criticism about Inside Out 2, and it's a small one, it's that I don't think it does as good of a job with utilizing all the different emotions like the first movie did. You know, the first movie has joy and the other emotions, and joy is kind of the main emotion, but you still get other aspects of the other emotions in there. With the second movie, you have all the emotions from the first movie, plus all these new emotions here. And I think there were so many times throughout the story where different emotions like envy or embarrassment could have been used a little bit more, but anxiety kind of takes center stage. Makes sense for the story that they're telling and what Riley's going through, but again, I felt like some of those other emotions could have taken less of a backseat and been a little bit more useful. That's not to say that Inside Out 2 is a bad movie. It's very good. I don't think it's as good as the first movie, and that's not a knock against Inside Out 2. I just think Inside Out, the first movie, was just so different and exploring these ideas in a very fresh and different way, and was doing a lot of interesting things with the story. And with Inside Out 2, you get some of the same. It does take the story in a different direction, but it's just something very special about that first movie. And so, you know, Inside Out 2 is still very, very good. Doesn't quite surpass the first movie, at least for me, but it's very, very close, you know. It's very, very close. And so it's very, very good. And if you liked the first movie, I think you will really enjoy the second one. So those are my thoughts on Inside Out 2. If you want to share your thoughts, you can do so in the comments, and also make sure you subscribe for more videos like this.